Bellator 262 best bets. We talked about it. We're making it happen. New series for Bellator. We obviously do the UFC best bets video. That's already out for UFC Vegas 31. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button on this new series for Bellator. The best bets, I need at least 85 likes on this video. I believe we can surpass that and even hit those triple digits. So smash that like button. New to the channel, subscribe here too. Covering all things MMA. Shout out to everybody for watching, whether live or on replay. Love you guys, and I'm very excited to talk about some of these Bellator bets. I do think there's some potential, but like as we've seen with Bellator in the past, sometimes they're not the best, man. Sometimes odds-wise, they're heavily favored towards one guy when really he doesn't deserve those odds. They play with you in the lines a bit. Bellator's bookmakers, whoever's doing them for all the different bookies, they know Bellator and the certain matchups there. So be cautious. We'll bet intelligently. We'll talk about a lot of the things that are going on with this Bellator card. Shout out everybody for watching live. Shout out everybody watching on replay too. And if you're in the live chat, I appreciate it. We'll definitely be chatting it up a bit here. I appreciate the kind words in that live chat, and we're going to get into it though, because I do want to start it off quickly. The first portion of this video, if you guys have seen the best bets video before, it's the best straight bets of the night. We are going to talk about the best straight bets possible for this card. First part is obviously locks of the night. I will put an asterisk. I am not going to be talking too much into those crazy favorites that really don't have proven records. But they are like technically locks, but I probably wouldn't include them in just because it's odd fights. When you only have 3 pro bouts, a lot of things can go wrong. We'll definitely look in some props, whether from prelims all the way up to that main card, and we'll talk about some bets that I feel have some value. So let's start it off. The first of our locks of the night. It is going to be our main event. World champion Juliana Velasquez. She's fighting Denise Kielholtz. For me, this is a great matchup for her. Yes, Kielholtz is a dynamite striker, knockout power, does have a successful judo background, so she definitely is capable with grappling. There's a serious level difference when it comes to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu level of grappling. Kielholtz, strong in the clinch, definitely, but I think Velasquez will definitely have the edge. Taller girl as well. She should definitely win this fight here. Could be a finish. Could also be 5 rounds of dominant work, but I see Juliana Velasquez getting the victory in this matchup. But odds for her, right? She's a minus 325 favorite at the best value you can find. That's over at Bovada. As far as the dog, Denise Kielholtz, she's a plus 348. But I like Velasquez to win this fight. We'll talk about Velasquez winning this fight and some potential bets here. Now, I do think we could be seeing a 5-round fight. So to look at this, right, Velasquez to win by a decision, plus 100's the best value you're getting. For the money you're going to have to put down for 5 rounds of work, high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu game versus a girl on the other side in Denise Kielholtz with dynamite power, I do think we could actually see a finish. For a finish for Velasquez is what I want to lean you towards if you're going to sprinkle bet some of the props. Velasquez wins inside the distance is plus 225, plus 200 range. I don't think that's terrible, but it's not all that great. I think the better value is the Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. Even though she's well-rounded, she shines with her jiu-jitsu brightly. Plus 500 odds. You can find Velasquez wins by submission. That is the prop bet as far as this lock of the night that I would lean you towards sprinkling down if you're looking to cash big and play a little bit more risk. Betting straight on Juliana Velasquez, she's going to be more of a parlay edition. It's also women's MMA, inherently highly risky. Maybe you just want to play with the props. I don't think she's going to go out there and sleep the high-level kickboxer in Denise Kielholtz, but I think she can get her to the ground and choke her out, potentially even put her in some type of arm lock. Plus 500, great value. Even plus 365 isn't bad either. Denise Kielholtz, I think it's tapped out here potentially in the 3rd round. I'll take Velasquez to win by a submission at the plus 500 money. I think that is an excellent bet. So circle that one there. For that plus 500, you'll need to be over at betonline.ag. That does tend to be a really deep betting site, personally, one that I do like. As far as some of the other bets, I don't think an inside the distance bet is bad on Velasquez. She could potentially get a ground and pound TKO. I guess that keeps you safe on that end. Just the value drops substantially because now you're looking at just plus 225 on betonline.ag as your absolute best. I don't really think there's enough value in betting that decision win. I think win by a submission is the best one, maybe inside the distance at plus 225. But I do think Velasquez is a parlay addition. Granted, the value isn't great, but if you have multiple people in that parlay that you really feel will cash, we'll talk about parlays towards the end. I don't think it's a bad one. So Juliana Velasquez, she should beat Denise Kielholtz, and I think the best prop bet for her would be that submission prop at that plus 500 money. The next of our locks of the night, I have to go with Johnny Eblen. Minus 700. Obviously, odds-wise, another hideous bet. So betting him straight is not really going to be where the value's at. The value's going to lie in the potential prop bets here for Johnny Eblen. Let's see what we can find as far as props go, if there's anything that really intrigues me. Eblen TKO plus 135. You could sprinkle that down, but you got to throw a nice amount at it to really make anything substantial coming back your way. So I'd understand skipping that bet. I do think Eblen's a lock, definitely, and I do think he can get the finish. Win for Eblen by a submission plus 550. How likely is that, though? I don't think all that likely. Eblen to win by a decision plus 200 at best value. Not bad either. It's not like Davis is an easy guy to put away. Even though I feel like he could get that second round knockout, and I might even be predicting that betting wise, because this is the best bets video. It's not just the best predictions. Eblen wins by a decision, has better value as far as the prop bets go. I don't see him getting a submission. That's very unlikely. Travis is not an easy guy to finish by any means. And I think a decision win could be very possible. Eblen win by a decision at plus 200 is my pick for the best prop bet for our lock here in Johnny Eblen. He definitely should get the victory, and I think the best prop is that plus 200. Eblen wins by a decision. Could he get a finish? Yes. But if you're talking about best bets, value-wise, that has to be the one. A straight bet is ugly on Johnny Eblen. Minus 549, that's over at Betway. That is the absolute best odds you will get. Not all that great. We have more, though. The next of our locks of the night. This one here, I guess we have to asterisk it because it's earlier on in the card. It's Roman Falardo. I really feel like he's going to go out there and put on a pretty swell performance against John Ramirez. I do think he could potentially get a finish. Only a couple props available, even, 2 days before the fights. I wish there were more, but unfortunately there's not. Hopefully in the weigh-in recap tomorrow, they will maybe unload some knockout prop bets. But since they do not have them now, we're talking about what we can bet at the moment. The best bets right now. Falardo inside the distance is minus 165. I like Falardo KO TKO at plus 100 or more. I think it's an okay bet. If you are betting intelligently, don't go out there and throw a crazy ass amounts of money. But I think that he's going to knock out John Ramirez in this fight, and I think it's highly likely he does so. Falardo inside the distance at minus 165. I don't like the value. I wish they had the knockout prop bet. I will, unfortunately, I guess, have to open best fight odds and see if any lines anywhere have that knockout prop bet as of right now, but I don't think it exists yet. Roman Falardo minus 600. Let's see. No, I cannot find you the knockout prop bet yet. So since it's not out yet, we'll assume it's going to be at plus 100. I do think it's an okay bet at plus 100. That would be my pick if I had to bet one, but from what's available inside the distance, minus 165, value is shit, but I think highly likely it happens. Maybe you do an under 1.5 bet for plus 100 money. That's not a bad one either, but I would rather bet Falardo by a KO TKO at any bit of plus money than throwing down on that under 1.5. But I'll pick under 1.5 as the number one, I guess, available at the moment because at least it's in the plus money. But I see Falardo getting the W here. Now, we'll do the final of our locks of the night. And that doesn't mean that the fighters that aren't included in the locks of the night shouldn't win, but these are the ones that are truly almost near certain levels of victory here, and they have a bit of experience. We're not going to talk about 3-0 fighters on our locks of the night on this card, even though we'll talk about some potential plays, but value's not there. And you guys probably know I was talking about Cody Law. I really think he's going to win, but I don't want to include him in the lock of the night portion just because the bet's really not worth it there. It's going to be Well, I guess, you know what? This bet's not really worth it either, but I guess I already said her name is Diana Aversagva. Again, the bet is not worth it there. It's the same type of situation with Cody Law. Betting-wise, not going to be super valuable, but it is a lock of the night play. I will look a little deeper for her to win inside the distance by Aversagva's -150. If the prop bet opens at +100 or more, I think the knockout prop bet is valuable here. She's going to knock out Gabriela Goffin probably in a round or two, and I don't think it'll be very close. So definitely keep that in mind if you guys are betting and you are looking to play some potential prop bets. I do want to check up on that live chat for just a moment and see what you guys are saying before I get to the next portion, which will be the dogs of the night. Velasquez is a lock, battle of the hotties. Almeida did pretty well in the first 1.5 rounds, but then he got wrestle-fucked. Is that going to happen in this Soto fight? I think Soto should definitely win. Also, Falardo off the card hurts. He was probably going to be a good part. Oh, he's off the card? Oh, my God. I didn't even see this. That sucks. Let's check this. This is live action. Hopefully you're not pulling my leg right now. Let's see. Roman Falardo. Yep, they just pulled him off. Wow, that stinks. Just as we did the segment, they pulled him off. Well, it is what it is. That's the fight game. I guess we're going to have to deal with that as a person that's taken off the card, not going to be fighting. Could have been a good parlay piece. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Bellator, though, definitely a dangerous thing to bet, which is why I really wanted to bring in this bet series for you guys, because I think somebody had to bring some realism to it. Too. I can't just say, oh, yeah, bet all the favorites. They're absolute locks. No. Be very careful betting these low-level favorites on these cards here. But, guys, smash that like button. Let's keep that algorithm pumping. I do want to move to the next portion, which is the dog of the night. There is just one dog of the night that I am truly picking here. It's going to be Hani Marks. I feel like the serious experience edge should get him the win. Best value you'll find is at Sportsbet at +164 for Hani Marks over Saeed Salma. Salma's not a bad fighter, but not a ton stands out as elite level. For me, I feel like Hani Marks could get the win here. I do think decision victory, Marks by a decision +325. To me, that's the best value bet. I think he could get caught by a punch and knocked out. Sure, it's heavyweight division. It's a dog of the night play. It is not a lock of the night play, but the dog of the night best bet is probably Marks to win by a decision. I think he can grind one out and get the victory over Saeed Salma in this matchup here. I'm going with the underdog. The straight bet's not bad either at that +164 money. Do other dogs have some potential value here? Definitely betting-wise, there could be value, in my opinion, on Matt Mitrione. This is honestly just going to bring us to our next portion of the video. It is the possible bets. This is not about whether I pick this fighter to win or not. It's going to be simply best value for betting, period. And Matt Mitrione has knockout power in his hands. He's a +275 underdog. Matt Mitrione to win by a knockout is what intrigues me the most here. +425 for Mitrione by a KO. If he wins, I see him getting the knockout. That is the bet. I feel like on this one, that would be very reasonable and realistic. I could see Matt Mitrione getting the KO win. Could Tyrell Fortune get a TKO? Yes, it would be a ground and pound TKO. That's sitting around the money at -105. Not great, not terrible. Mitrione by a submission is not going to happen. Fortune by a submission, I think, is unlikely as well. I think it would be Fortune by a KO if he wins, or potentially a decision. More Matt Mitrione, definitely if he wins. I see him getting the knockout win. He's a knockout guy. He likes to fight striking. I think that would be the most realistic outcome for him here. Fortune to win by a decision is crazy value at +690. Maybe worth a sprinkle, but Mitrione has been finished in a few, and I think he would potentially get TKO'd in this matchup. Not a terrible bet at the +110. That's the money for Fortune by a KO TKO, but if you're looking to bet the dog, that +425 price tag, Mitrione by a KO definitely does stand out to me. It pops a bit, and it makes you think, hey, maybe I want to throw a little something down on Matt Mitrione and hope that the knockout power is still there and maybe can carry through with something big. The next, we're going to talk about this Mateus Matos fight with CJ Hamilton. Some betting side of this matchup for me, Matos to win by a submission is the best prop bet to make as far as this fight goes at +200. But value-wise, 200's good, but I was really hoping to see +250 or more. At +200, it's a reasonable bet. It's a bet that definitely could cash, but as with all prop bets, highly risky, especially against CJ Hamilton, who's no slouch. I mean, I think he's going to be beaten here, but he's not an easy fight. Hamilton on the other side, if he were to win, I do believe it would be a decision victory. Hamilton by a decision, +490. If you like the dog, it'd be plus 490 for him. The straight bet at the best, you can find it at plus 240. If you're looking to straight bet Mateus Matos, it's minus 259. Straight bets are going to be a bit tricky on this Bellator card if you're not betting underdogs, because lots of widespread action. I will bring you down to, I feel like, the best favorite bet value-wise on the card is Johnny Soto. If you can find him at Sportsbet, especially at minus 122, I really feel like he can control Adil Benjelani on the ground. He does have the wrestling advantage. Benjelani can let the hands fly nicely on the feet, but Johnny Soto showed to be pretty decent. I mean, he went out there and beat Weber Almeida, who was a really hot prospect. Adil Benjelani, is he on that level of Almeida? He's good enough, but I don't think he's amazing. I think for Johnny Soto, maybe similar level to his former opponent, Weber Almeida. Maybe Almeida was a bit better even. I think stylistically, though, Johnny Soto can still win this fight with the heavy wrestling attack. I believe that's how he comes out. Johnny Soto to win by a decision is the best prop bet, as I think at plus 395, that's actually a pretty likely casher right there. So plus 395. Best prop bet for Johnny Soto would be betting him to win by a decision. But if you're looking to bet him straight, not bad either at minus 122 price tag over at Sportsbet. I think that is a good one. Do you really want to bet women's MMA like Arlene Blencowie and Diana Silva? Personal take is stay away from it. If you are going to bet it, I lean you towards more of the fight goes the distance prop, but it's not going to bring you great value. It's sitting at minus 285, minus 275. Like, that doesn't intrigue me. That doesn't get me excited. That's a lot of money to risk on women's fighting. Not worth it. If you want to bet Blencowie by decision, it's plus 120. I wouldn't do it, but if you want to, I'm just showing you what's there. Personally, going to skip this women's MMA bout bet. Women's MMA, risky enough as is. This women's featherweight division, super risky, especially with girls, that not necessarily low level, but not the highest of levels. And then obviously Cody Law, I think it's a mismatch and he should get the win over Theodore Makuka, but on the off chance he gets caught with something, some crazy knockout, I don't think it's worth a bet on him. Makuka to win inside the distance is plus 1,025. If a knockout prop bet drops at plus 3,000 money, we've seen good wrestlers in Bellator caught by unproven guys before, like that Isaiah Hotkick fight. Maybe that's the bet. Is Makuka at some crazy plus money for knockout? Bet $10 and make yourself maybe 200 back at you if it's plus 2,000 odds. I think Cody Law should get the win here. I think he probably gets a second round TKO, but we still have to acknowledge the Makuka bet would be a decent one, especially if you get a straight knockout prop bet by the time the fight actually does happen. Charlie Campbell and Nick Guletti, more say stay away from this one. I don't really feel as though it would be worth a bet. If you want to bet, I could see people wanting to bet the dog because Guletti does have some decent submissions. Guletti to win inside the distance here is going to be sitting around plus 480. If a submission prop bet does drop, I think it would be higher. Maybe you can bet it, but here's my issue with betting a lot of props, and especially on lower level fights, is you're essentially playing lottery tickets. And I don't feel like if you're doing betting for long-term return, if you're just fucking around to have some fun, sure, throw down on whatever you want. But if you're actually looking for valuable investment and return ratio, you should not be betting serious amounts of props. And the props you do bet, you better be damn confident about. You can't have any question in your mind when you bet these props. And even those ones that you believe are guaranteed cashers can seriously go to shit a lot of the time. Let me check up on that live chat before we get to the parlay section. I do want to see what's being talked about here. Let's see what's going. Let's see what's going on here. I'm choking up over here. You guys are so great with the compliments. Yeah, parlay piece. These Bellator odds getting too out of hand. Yo, is golfing transgender? I don't think so. MMA experts, the GOAT. Shout out to you, savage shit. I am the GOAT. You're my guy. Thank you. What about Saeed Salma? I think Saeed's going to lose to Honey Marks. But, he could win. He does move fairly well laterally. Controls distance okay. Bit of pop in the hands, but not crazy power. Yeah, the Bellator cards, man. The Bellator card this week, I'm disappointed with it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. The next card for Bellator 263 is going to be a sweet card. I cannot wait for that Bellator 263 card. That is going to be absolute fire. But we got good action coming up, though, for the UFC, the Makhachev card. So I'm excited for that, even though the Bellator is a little lackluster. I do enjoy covering it still, though, even if not the best card we've ever seen from Bellator. But I appreciate everybody being here. Smash that like button. We're going to get to the parlay portion of this video. Let's get into it and let's talk about some parlays to play. I will be jumping over to best fight odds just because it's a lot easier to navigate parlays on best fight odds. All right. Parlays. So, first and foremost, parlays are extremely risky. Prop bets, extremely risky. Betting in general, extremely risky. But it's a ladder thing. It's straight betting risk here. Prop betting risk maybe here. Parlays, more, probably a little bit higher than props even. I'd say all pretty risky, but when you're getting into the specific style of betting, very risky. So, who is somebody that I feel confident that if I had to throw money, if you gave me $1,000 and I have to bet a 2-fighter parlay, we are going to do that. If I have $1,000 and I have to bet a 2-fighter parlay, this is it right here. It's Juliana Velasquez and Johnny Eblen. I think this should be a good to go cash. I think it definitely will be a cash. Now, is there inherent risk to it? Absolutely. It's $1,000 betting down. It is what it is. I have to throw it down. I think Velasquez should win. If you don't like Velasquez and you want to add maybe a male fighter to it, I feel like you could run into a bit of trouble. But I was going to say Roman Falardo, but he's off the card, so that genuinely stinks here because he was definitely a play. Mateus Matos isn't terrible, but it's a risky fight because his opponent's a tall guy and a lanky guy. Tyrell Fortune should win against Matt Mitrione, but I like the bet that I had. It's Velasquez Eblen, 2-fighter parlay that I think should definitely cash. If you had $1,000, that would be the one. If I told you really had to put down on it, potentially cashes nicely for you and gets you something good. If you have to add more, I think that Diana Aversagva, I know it's women's MMA, it's dangerous, but man, golfing's not all that great. Still, the issue is the value is shit. Look at that. From 196 to 145, and I'm taking a serious risk. I'm leaving it out. Now, if I want to actually make some money, I'm going to put in Johnny Eblen to bring me to plus 171, but that's still higher risk. Maybe you put in Tyrell Fortune. It brings you to minus 370. Could potentially be a casher there for him, and then you're at minus 109 overall. I feel like Fortune should beat Matt Mitrione. I think he will beat Matt Mitrione. Let's say we add in Matos in for a 4-fighter parlay at plus 154. I'm not even going to touch these minus 1,000 or near it tags because they're just not worth my money and not worth my risk here. And if you put in Johnny Soto, it would be plus 355. Eblen, Velasquez, Fortune, Matos, Soto. I think that 5-fight parlay should hit here, but it's a dangerous one. I'm not advising betting it. The one, as I said, the first one, if I had $1,000, the 2-fighter parlay, that would be the way I'd have to go. Now, everything else from there on, much more risky. And this would definitely be a risk if you are looking to play it. But could it cash? Absolutely. It's possible, but highly risky. Now, if you really want to go nuts and you want to add in Honey Marks, it would bring you huge money at plus 1,056. I'd advise against that. If you are looking to maybe play with an underdog play on top of your parlay, do something a bit safer. Maybe you put Juliana Velasquez with Honey Marks, you're at plus 229, and you added Johnny Eblen, plus 283. Still, the value really isn't great there. Tyrell Fortune, plus 318 now is not bad, but you do have 2 heavyweight fights in there, and you are relying on an underdog in Honey Marks who hasn't looked amazing lately. Losing that Ferraro fight does stink because I was excited to bet down on him. These 2-fighter parlay here, plus 132, that isn't bad either. If you don't like Velasquez and you said, hey, I'm risking it, I'm throwing down on straight close money, plus 356, the riskier 2-fighter parlay, Johnny Soto and Honey Marks. You can see you can make some value here, but you definitely can run into some serious trouble with this Bellator card. So be intelligent, guys, with your bets. You can let me know in the live chat what you guys are thinking as far as bets also. Early thoughts on Brett Primus, Islam Mamedov. I'm going to have to do some more research, man, before I give you an early lean. Brett Primus is pretty decent. I think when you have anybody with the V as their last letter of their name, they're dangerous, though. Parlay Dricka's second round, Griffin decision, Maya decision, Tavares decision, Ilya under Tavares, but lost it because of Yana last week. Prop parlays are even riskier. Yeah, the prop parlays are another level of risk, man. The prop parlays are next level shit. I would say be careful with any parlay, but now add in the props. That's wild. Blanquillo is a good one to add. I listened to the weighing in process. We're very confident. Blanquillo, she said she's much better striking. It's going to be too much for Silva. Listen, man, those guys work for Bellator. I'm not gonna, don't take all their advice as absolute betting advice. They have, not saying that Blencow shouldn't win, but they can say that and then be wrong, and they still have their job over at Bellator. So I'm not gonna tell you to throw down much money on Blencow. I'm not gonna tell you to throw down much money on any fight, but especially these women's MMA bouts. If you want Blencow, you can better. You can see what happens. I think she should win. I think that she's better than her opponent, but at the end of the day, could be trouble. Could be trouble. Let's see what the value is. Diana Silva, Arlene Blencow. I'm going to take out Honey Marks here, though. Plus 196 if you did Blencow and Soto. But if you don't like Soto, maybe you did Blencow, Velasquez, Fortune, Eblin, Matos. We're just going nuts here. I'm curious what's the best value you can get. Plus Honey Marks. This is just a crazy man parlay. This is not one that you should play. You'd be sitting at plus 1806 if somehow these all came to cash here. But the fight game is a wild one, and there's a good chance one of those fighters gets caught or gets submitted or has a bad performance. The fight game is crazy, so be very cautious betting. Be very cautious listening to any opinion online. Mine, obviously, I'm giving you my best takes possible, but I don't have the crystal ball. I can only see what I'm seeing in my mind and give you the best possible options. I feel like Blencow would be an okay bet, but it's women's MMA, super risky. Don't throw down a ton of money, and it's also a very dangerous weight class as well. Overall, I am pretty excited for this Bellator card, but I really got to say the excitement is going to be seeing Islam Makhachev get a pretty big opponent and potentially get himself into the mix because he's getting close. He's getting close. I would say this Bellator bets are decent to make on this card. I think there's some good ones. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the first ever Bellator Best Bets video. I enjoyed making it. This was a lot of fun. Make sure you guys smash the like button. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel too. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. That's pretty much it for today's live stream. I will be back with the Bellator weigh-in recap, and then obviously we'll have some Bellator live coverage as well, which I cannot wait for. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I appreciate everybody, and I hope everyone has a great night. I will see you all in the next video.